All right, guys, so in this video, we've got with us veteran oceanfront condo investor, Matt Fries. He's gonna spill all the juicy details that you wanna hear about crazy guest story, nightmare stays, police officers escorting people out of the unit at 3 in the morning. I mean, the crazy stuff that you wanna hear about, Matt's gonna tell it all. He's gonna also share with you how he stops both Airbnb and his guests from getting free stay. Let's get into the video now. All right, Matt, so you were telling me about HO6 insurance, and you mentioned something I'd never heard before. Which resort was that at? Grand Cayman?
Grand Cayman. So, yes, so, and this is specifically with, we do a lot of different loan types, but this is specifically with DSCR loans, debt service credit ratio, right? If we're going based on, all right, like there's really 4 items that depend on your debt service credit ratio. 1, will the property appraise at value and appraise cash flow? 2, what's your credit score? And then 3, do you have the down payment source? But 4, it's the insurance, because we're basically, on DSCR, we don't care what your income is, right? Your income is not calculated, but they want to make sure that if a hurricane hits, will the insurance cover the lost rent, right? So basically, some of these resorts that already have HO6 insurance policies, a lot of times they're not in the right or enough coverage for a DSCR loan. And that's because you have to, so the DSCR lenders, I don't care which wholesale lender I use, which route I go, all the DSCR lenders want lost rental income. So they want to make sure that if the building is closed down, will your insurance cover 6 months of lost rental income, right?
Wow.
So that way you don't have to pay it, right? The insurance company is going to pay it while it's closed down, which it protects you. And
that's part of your HO6 policy.
Right. A lot of times the resorts don't have that coverage. They have HO6 coverage, but they don't have lost rent HO6 coverage. The other thing is the lenders are going to want to be added as a mortgagee clause. A lot of these resorts have a master policy, so they can't add individual
units,
master insurance. So when the lender wants to make sure they get paid, they want to be added as a mortgagee clause, and a lot of these units won't do it. The other thing is deductible, right? So a lot of the wholesale lenders will, when you're going DSCR, they'll have a maximum deductible, say, each one's a little bit different, but say roughly around $2,000, right? Well, if the deductible is $2,500 or $3,000 or $5,000, which a lot of the HO6 policies at a lot of these resorts have really high deductibles.
Wow.
Well, so a lot of times when I have a client go under contract and they say, hey, well, this property already has HO6, a lot of times my response is, but it's probably not the right coverage that we need.
So we're going to need to get an HO6 policy.
We're going to need.
Anyways.
So what a lot of myself and other people have done to get through closing, they get what makes the underwriter happy. A lot of times nobody really follows up after that. So as long as you have HO6 insurance policy, then it depends on the service that it goes to.
So what do they charge? What do you see the typical HO6 policy rate come in at? Like how much per year?
About I'd say about $700 or $800 a year.
Pretty cheap.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not like you need this huge policy, but it's something that's needed when going to DSCR. Now a lot of times if we're going full doc or bank statement or whatnot, now we've qualified that they can afford to pay this even if it doesn't rent, so it doesn't matter. But this is really a DSCR requirement.
Okay. I'm going to throw out a few quick fire questions for you. So, which vacation rental program do you prefer as far as platform? If you had to choose a platform, what's the best platform for you?
So, I'm not a fan of VRBO. VRBO is confusing. Airbnb is my top choice, especially since the type of properties that we have, that's the clientele that we're getting is Airbnb clientele. If I have friends who own oceanfront houses in North Carolina, when they have their units on VRBO and Airbnb, all their listings come through VRBO. I have them on both platforms here. All my listings come through Airbnb.
What's the deal with that?
It's I think it's a state of mind of what they advertise, right? Like, so When you're thinking, hey, I need a 2-bedroom condo,
You think Airbnb?
you think Airbnb. If I want to rent a house, you're gonna go VRBO. It's weird. Yeah, maybe it's just how they market.
All right. So, what's the craziest guest story you've ever had?
So I did have a client recently that so she
Are you trying to figure out how to say this one? Huh?
yeah. Well, so
just don't say any names.
well, no. So usually every turnover I change the code. Well, I had one client reach out to me who was checking out on Friday night, who begged to pay extra for me not to do a 2-night minimum. I agreed, but I split up in 2 reservations where I didn't have scheduled the code change, right? So I split up in 2 rentals. So both Friday and Saturday both got the same code. The Saturday guests showed up on Friday night. They all guests entered the unit at the same time.
What? How?
They all just happened to show up at the same time. The first guest went into the unit. They were scheduled for Saturday night. Everybody, basically the guests who saw them walk into the unit called me and said, hey, somebody just walked in the unit that we're supposed to be staying in tonight. So I called the other guests and I said, hey, are you there a day early? She's like, nope, I've got it booked for the whole weekend. And I was like, and I said, well, no, I'm looking at your reservation. You only booked for Saturday. Nope, I booked Friday and Saturday. And I said, no, like, pull up your reservation and look. And she hung up on me. And so I called her back and she said, stop calling me or I'll call the police. And I said, well, and she was like,
what?
She said, I need to put my 2-year-old to bed. And so if you keep calling, then I'm going to call the police. I said, well, you're not supposed to be in the unit right now. I said, I have another unit you can rent. I can move you over to. And that's when she hung up on me, right? And so, I called Airbnb and said, how do I handle this?
Yeah.
They said, call the police. So I called the police, and the police unfortunately didn't get there till 3 a.m. Luckily I had another unit open. I put the other family in my other unit. But the police showed up at 3 a.m. and escorted them out. And I feel really bad because he had a 2-year-old daughter. We could have made this work, but just let's talk it through.
Yeah, don't hang the phone up on me.
Right, all right. So, I mean,
that's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
pretty wild.
Yeah.
That stinks. Okay, so any other kind of craziness like that?
We're going into complaint season. So there's
complaint season.
Yeah.
You mean the off-season months.
Yeah.
All right, talk to us. Come on, Matt. Tell us the juicy good stuff.
So complaint season. It usually starts about Labor Day.
Okay.
It started. Mine this year started on Labor Day, but it's basically people who have learned how to work the system.
All right, you got to take us to school. What does that mean?
So a lot of people get to the unit and we're at the beach, right? So anything with metal on it will rust quickly because of the salt air, the humidity. And
part of being at the beach.
Part of being at the beach. So, but what these guys will do is they'll check in, they'll zoom in. So I have my stove, my drawer on my stove where it's I guess it rubbed, and so there's some rust right at the very top of it. I plan on putting a new stove in there, but it's not enough so they zoom in on that. And Labor Day weekend, I had a lady send me, I'd say 50 pictures, just like zooming in on things that like it's Airbnb. It's not Hilton Grand Resorts. It's not like I try to get there. I renovate, but anything that's metal is gonna rust pretty quickly.
It's in an oceanfront condo.
Right, and so they'll use that. They'll send it to Airbnb. They'll complain until all right, yes, you got a good deal for this weekend. Now they want 50% back. Give them 50% back, then they find some more things, and they whittle it away. And so I've learned how to deal with those guys.
Let's get in unit 958. All right, as soon as we come in, guys, you are going to notice 2 double full-size beds here. You got a flat screen TV to your left, mirror, chest of drawers, closet, as you can see here with the safe, kitchen, tile in the wet areas, which is something you want, nice backsplash. It does have a stove, it does have a microwave, it does have a refrigerator, which is what you want. Now, the restroom, as you can see, there's a tub shower combo there. Nice vanity. And you come on into the living room, table, couch. Most likely that's a sleeper sofa. And the moneymaker. There you go. That's what your guests are looking for. They are looking for that ocean view. Oceanfront means sand and ocean right here on the balcony. Decent sized balcony, as you can see. There's a table and 2 chairs here. And if you look all along that coast, guys, that is oceanfront condo demand. Those are people that are renting oceanfront condos right here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. That is going to be your vacation short-term rental demand right there. As you can see, guys, I do want to point out one last thing. There's a Murphy bed here. It literally just pulls right down, as you can see, and you've got a bed. And the more people you can sleep in your units, obviously, the more you can charge.